And this is Old Man PHP. I create PHP video tutorials for the old guys who want to learn a new skill and compete with the young crowd. This is video 115C. On the last one, B, we were talking about the linked list, right? And we were doing it using the OOP, object-oriented programming, the approach, right? And I think, let me see. Let's see if we can show. Where is it? Where was it? The B. This was this one right here. Let's see. Oh, here it goes. And we use classes. Remember that we use two classes within one. Well, this class has a public one constructor because we're getting data, right? And then we talked about the other class, which also has a variable property, and of course functions in the constructor. And then within the constructor, which ends right here, then you have your pen data, and this is what does all the work. And then you have your display. Remember that one? So I'm saying to myself, and then I wrote this up here, you know, when you do the insert at the head, delete head, insert head, all pen, you know, believe it or not, this here will work for. What I did was I converted this particular file using to a procedural approach on the PHP for data structure, which is what this is. This and this one here does the same thing, except that this is more advanced. If you kind of know object-oriented, as I remember I told you, you don't have to do everything with object-oriented programming. Some stuff just doesn't make sense doing it that way. You could, it might be even be something simple, and then it'll be like, okay, and some things are good using the procedural, because I know I did so many different things that I found that procedural programming, procedural PHP was a lot, for me, better, as long as you do efficiently. Let me see, what is this? Is this the one that we, okay, so right here we typed it out. No, this is why we got two of them. Did I open up two? This one is the data structure, and this one is the data structure. Yeah, I opened two of them. Excuse me, let me just close that one out. Why isn't it closing? Is it? Why? Okay, this is the one we just did. Let's open up the one that I converted. If I can kind of find. Wait a minute, what the hell happened here? Oh no, don't tell me I copied over the whole. Let's see, maybe this is the one. No, let me see. Yeah, this is the one. Does it says P? Oh yeah, this is the one. And I took the liberty of turning. Let's move this one over. I would like to move this one over here. Okay, this is this one. I took this one, which is the object-oriented programming, and converted it into a procedural. Now the reason why I did that is because sometimes when you're gonna start doing like object-oriented programming, which is cool, I like to do the procedural way because I get to learn more. And then when I look at some of the things I'm doing, I'm saying, okay, you know something, this is, you better off doing this in object oriented, and then you go and you do it. But I always like to do things in procedural mode. For me, it's a lot better. But wait a minute, guys, you guys got any coffee? Did you guys drink any coffee? Well, right now I'm gonna take a little sip of my own coffee. Hold on one second. I put a piece of one of those little, what do you call those things? Peppermint things. Throw right in the coffee, man. It makes the coffee taste so much better. Anyway, so, and then I decided, well, why don't we just do it also with procedural? So I did. Then I also noticed that when I was doing certain things, look, I wrote it down. I created the one function, right? Remember this? This function is like the same as what I'm doing here. This class. See this class right here? See how you got your data and your next? Well, we put it all in an array, and it's simple. See? And then I said, well, how about the append node? So then I looked up the append node, and I said, okay, I don't call it append node here. It's over here, the append, because I made a class, and the append would be right here as a public. You see, remember the method? So I said, okay, we're not using class anyway, we got to create function, right? And this particular function, let's see, it runs all the way to right here. And then you got your display. Remember how we showed you the display, which is right here, display. And then of course you create your object by using the blueprint class, and then you use this. Remember the append, and the append uses the actual method that you created. And in this case, is separate. We did function for the creation of, you know, the property, because you want to do pointers, data, right? And this is the append. This is the one that does the switching back and forth. See, not see right here. This is gives you that reference, and I had to add this into to make it work. See, at one point I was using, as you can see here, I was using the version, I was doing this using the version 8, a one laptop that my wife has. And that was working fine. It gave me the results and stuff like that. But then I said, well, I tried doing it on my desktop, and I found out that I only have almost 7, it was version 7 point something, not 8. So a lot of this stuff didn't work there. It worked on my wife's laptop, but it didn't work on my desktop because of this version, the older version. So I had to come right back in here and say, okay, we're going to use a pointer, because I commented out, right? I use 3 because for me, when I see 3, that means that's the actual command that I'm using, not the 2 that you, well, that's nothing here. The 2 that you would use for comments. So I like to do 3, but it really is, the PHP only looks at these 2 anyway. That's the comment, just like this for me, indicating, hey, this is the actual command that you're going to have to use or not use. Anyway, the point is, I did like this. So I created another one, and I said pointer, and I added same idea because we're going to be using it. But the reason why I changed the name is because I'm down below here. I changed the name. So anyway, I created that 1, 2 function, right? And then I created the third function, and then of course you're calling the function, and you're sending in the actual this no, that's just no, and then 100, and then what happens is the append node. We'll look at this and say, okay, this is node, and this is the append. This is that into the one, that what is that, the 100, 200, 300, or going to here. Then it gets thrown in here. This function creates, then you create a variable using this, create node, which just happens to be this function. So remember how functions can call functions, same idea as method can call other methods in object-oriented programming. So right now we're calling this function within this function, sending that data, right? Does all this stuff, and then of course you're comparing it, see if it's a node. If it's empty, then of course you send the node into that. And I like doing it this way too, because you kind of pass you learn a lot more when you do procedural. If you get heavy into it, and then once you start doing the object-oriented programming part, you'll be like, oh, I see, things kind of click in your head. Because in Procedural PHP, a node, right, can be represented by an associated array, because we were using node here. It's in here somewhere. What the idea of node, how about that? Because it's, so by doing that, I'm using the associated array, right? So then the linked list itself, mainly the head part, can be a simple variable passed by reference. In the past, when you're passing stuff by reference, this is what it looks like right over here. Remember that we talked about that we can pass something by reference. It's like I thought I explained that before. You create a variable, then you want to pass it over, because you want this to be kind of like you can get to from all directions. Global, I'm going to say global, okay? And within this, not, and when you're passing this, you're passing by referencing. So I kind of started by referencing the main list variable head, which would be, and by doing that, I will say, now I did it this way the first time because I wasn't using pointer, because at one point I was using like right here, current, right? And for some reason I couldn't get it going. I said I used that, I did that, I did this, and the problem was here. All my problems was in here within this thing here. It's because of this, and I couldn't get it going on the 7 point. I mean, it worked. I didn't get no errors, but I didn't get anything. Something was missing. So I figured, okay, let me close this out. Let's do it this way. And the 7, it does work. It's just that certain things I had to change. And I think I got rid of it. I should have left it in here. Let me see. I should have left it in here. There was a lot of comments that I had. Because node management, like procedure equivalent of a node class, you kind of have to do certain things differently. So what do? So when you create a new node, you do an associated array, and then you mix. Then the parameter will be mixed, right? Because you got the $data and the data to store in that node, and then you have the array, the new node structure, and that's what makes everything works. Now when you do this one, where is it? I'm in the right place. Okay, this pointed to the next node. This right here was next. So it's pointing right now. It's nothing, because that's what a node means. It means there's nothing there yet. And then when you start playing around, excuse me, guys, you start by referencing the main list variable. And the thing is, it's pretty good though, because by doing it this, I mean, you look at this here and you say, okay, unless you really know how this works, which I hope I showed you how that works. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, if you look at it, you say from here on in, from here on in, it would be, not. Let's see, a good total of 90, take away the 4, right? So it's not much. And then if you come here, doesn't mean anything really. I just did that for myself. And then this will be like from here to 7 all the way to, to 84, 87. So you take away this stuff. Who cares about that? And it's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's easier for me. It's easier to understand what's going on because I'm looking at it here. It's functions. It's how I always did things. Object oriented was good too, but I wanted to do this video showing you that the procedure program you can do the same thing. So it creates this function. I created that function. I created this function, and this goes loops through the whole thing, just like I mentioned from the other one, right? And then you display it the same way. It's just that this is done differently. Kind of looks close to the same. Probably is. Let's see. Display right here. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Yeah, I'm a genius. And then, of course, you do the list this way. You don't have to create an object at all. Meaning that you don't have to do this right here. Look, this is the class. You don't have to create the object. When you say new, and then you have to do these little things. Or you can do it this way, like this. You're calling it, and it'll do 1, 1, 1, and then it prints it out for you, creates it. You know, tells you which is that. Remember I told you when you do an array, it goes to a memory, and it's like in sequence. The next area, the next memory over, it will be the next line of data, and the next and the next. This one is all over the place, but you gotta have it in a way that you also have to point to it, right? You get the data, but then you have to point to which is the next data. And it might not be next to each other. It might be somewhere else. That's why you have the pointers. LinkedList is not bad. It's a good data structure. It's pretty good. And let me put this over here. I don't know if it'll. I wonder if I kept that. Did it go? Yes, I did. See, and it's also all ones. Delete. When you delete the head, it's a 1. The tails and it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's pretty good. I like it. Drove me nuts. Drove me nuts. Because the key differences in the approaches. I mean, would it be a little slower? Maybe. But it depends on what it is that you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? And that's about it. Associative arrays are used to represent structure instead of objects in this case. You know? Yeah. It's pretty good. It worked on version. Matter of fact, this stuff here probably will work on the version 8 because it will do it. It's just that when you do things that version 8 does, it won't work on version 7. So, and a lot of times when you go to a company, they're going to have the latest version. Sometimes, I don't know, JP Morgan surprised me many times when I was like looking at the versions and I'm like, what the heck? You're still using the old version stuff. But because by the time it catches up, you know, by the time, because you know, you're talking about a giant company that has thousands of computers. I mean, I can understand, you know. Anyway, this is the actual way of doing it. Let's see if it works. We're doing this. Oh yeah, it did work. Look, it did work. I tested it out. See, on the when I was doing the object oriented, we didn't do nothing. So remember, we had some little problem. We had to kind of debug. And thank you very much for helping me out. And then in this case, I just decided to play around with it myself, type it all out, test it out, and that's it. You can have. So I'm going to have this. I'm going to keep this in case you do want to look at it as a procedural way of doing things. That I'll have it in the description. Of course, it's going to be a text file. All you need to do is open this up, and then I'm going to have more information on it too. That I'm going to add to the text file. You know, like the stuff like the list between the two. Like, what's the difference between this and then you did it this way? It's a different methods, function calls that replaces the methods. I'll have that written down there, and that's about it, man. I hope you understood what I'm saying. This is the way to do it. Open up the text file, copy that whole thing, put it between the two, which is this stuff here, PHP. Put it between here, excuse me, all that stuff, and test it out. That's what this is, because I, test it out over here. Okay, because I'm not going to send you the PHP file, because I just remembered that if you open up PHP file, you're not going to see the, all this stuff. So I'm going to send it out as a text. And you just have to open it and convert it to a PHP, which is easy. You just have to rename it PHP, and that's about it. That's all I have. That's all I have for you. So right now, I want to be able to hit the. What is that we were going to hit? The tree. I want to see if we can do the tree. And then once we finish the tree, then we'll do the queue. And I'm going to have the examples for you so you can play around with it. It shows you what does that mean. See the head? Then you have your next point, then pointing to this one, it points to the other one, points to this one. And then I'll have on the last video of this data structure, I'll have like one file that has all of them, explaining a little bit more, and they probably have more examples. So that way, because sometimes you get examples like this, and they say, well, I want more examples. I want more examples because I want to compare. I got to see why. You understand? And I'll do that too. And then once we do that, then I want to show you guys how to create a barcode. The reason why I'm doing that, because somebody was telling me, yo, man, because he's going to be working for a supermarket, some guy. He doesn't look at my videos, but he just knows me from the past. Doesn't look at my stuff, but that's okay, Maybe one day. And he's not bad. He's pretty good, but there's certain things, if you don't look at it, and I noticed that when I went to his, he had hardly any books. I'm like, well, what are the books? What's your references? He'll go to, of course, the PHP.net things, which is okay, but you still want to see a lot more, like examples, the actual stuff, because I was doing something for one time for a warehouse, and they were going to get some products, and we set up the whole conveyor belt, and the truck gets right on there, and then with the gun, the computer was there too, like a station, and then the gun, what you do is you read the barcode, and then it puts all that information, it goes through your, of course, algorithm, because it checks to see what products is what, right? Because you're only going to get from that barcode some kind of code that they give you. One code would mean like soaps, and one code would mean shampoo, one code would mean, those kind of things. And then what happens is you slap that stuff in, goes into a database, then that product goes into the conveyor belt, and then from there it goes to different parts of the warehouse itself, because they have everything separate. Like if you go to, like, let's say, example, the soaps, all the soaps will be there, and that belt is the one that drives you to that section. Then there'll be another belt that's all part of that whole big belt thing, and that will take care of all the shampoo, and then the other belt will take care of something else like that. That's how we were doing it, and it was like a whole mess of belts, man. It was massive. Anyway, I'm going to show you how we can read that, and when people look at that, they're gonna say, "Oh man, that's gotta be difficult," because really it is not difficult, because it's just a regular form. Reads that thing, puts it into the form situation, submit it, then then of course your destination PHP will break it up and read that form, the code that I was talking about, and then know what to do with it. Okay, and of course you got your automatic stuff with the belts and stuff. It's like a roller thing when you roll the stuff over, but it's like they look like conveyor belts. Anyway, so this is the actual procedure side. This, of course, which is the last video, was the actual object-oriented programming. I didn't go deep into the object programming because I did a whole bunch of some videos of that. But you can kind of understand what I was doing here. You can understand. It's pretty good. It's like a, but if you wanted to learn more how procedural, do it this way, and then play with it. It's, like for some reason, like change the name or something. See where it fails, and then you look at them, and then with the inspector, you'll be able to see what things are, change things. I mean, it's the inspector's got. Maybe I'll do a whole. I did say I was gonna do a whole video of the inspector, and I probably will do that when the time comes. Anyway, this is the one way. On the next video, we're gonna be talking about hopefully the actual tree. Yeah, because it's like binary search a tree. Like it's like non-linear data structure, where the data items are like organized in hierarchy, because like the tree, like when they say the tree of life or the tree of your family lineage. So what is it? You got the father, and then you down there gave you the wife, and then you got like 3 kids, and then the 3 kids had their own kids, and then of course it's like a tree, right? But that's what I'm going to show you how to do with this data structure. It's one of the good ones. And the thing is that the reason why you would play with these different types of data structure is because you want to know the big O notation, right? You want to see which one is what for the big O notation. And that's about it. Anyway, on the next video, I'll catch you next time. Good night.